This podcast is presented to you by the Center for Writing and Communication, Ashoka University.
Hello. Welcome to the Center for Writing and Communication podcast. We don't know which number this is, but this will certainly air. So I'm going to introduce some of the people who laughed and those who didn't. Shejuti, just say hi so that...
Hi.
Apurva.
Hi.
Uday.
Hi.
And...
Pulumi.
Right. So, everyone's very tensed. So by way of introduction to the CWC, we were thinking of doing something like if we can chat about some of the things we have heard other people say about us, like about the center. It's been 6 months we've been here.
7 months.
7 months, huh? So what all did we hear?
Yeah, mostly we get to hear from students who come for one-on-one sessions, and it ranges across a lot of ideas. The first very weird thing I hear from students is when professors tell them to go and fix their writing in CWC. So it feels like we are sitting here doing some kind of editing job, like a quick fix lab, and they can come and we can fix their writing and it is submission ready. So that's the weird idea that I feel is what is circulated about CWC, because there is no shortcut to good writing. And you can't fix it in one edit. And nothing can be publication ready or submission ready by just going through one-on-one session at the CWC, right? So that's one. Okay. So I have more, but let others say. What are the other weird things that we generally hear?
Weird thing is already what you just said. We could be of use to students who come with their initial drafts and actually work with us closely over several sessions. Several sessions could mean 3 sessions, could mean 4, could even mean 2, but at least definitely more than 1 session. So when students with such drafts come and stay with one tutor over a few sessions with that same draft, their writing, in my experience, improves, and they also get an idea, they also get to track their progress of their writing, and so do we. Whereas especially before their 1 week or 2 weeks before their assignments, when students come and try to get their writing, like you said, fixed in just one session, that definitely is not helpful. And I don't know if the students understand that they are not being able to track their progress. They don't know how their writing has improved, what went wrong, if they're not coming for a few sessions. So, and also nothing can be sorted out in just 45 minutes. So we are here actually to help students be able to see their own writing evolve. So that's what I feel that in that way we are a very good resource. Of course, if students come before their assignments and expect to get their writings it's not a therapy. Therapy in the sense it's not a clinic in that way that we can fix a writing in just 45 minutes and it will be submission ready. So that way CWC is very useful if students can actually make use of a few sessions with us, with any one tutor they choose. So that's what I feel.
Clinic is also like you go to the clinic multiple times to get something sorted, right? So
the funny part is when just for those who are hearing us who don't know about how this place functions, which I don't think is a lot of people anyway. But the thing is that, there's nothing that mandates a student to come. So even if they come for one session and we say that, why don't you come for another one, there's nothing binding that will make him or her come to us or to the same person. So some funny situations arise when, say, for instance, someone's come to me twice. And I said, come for the 3rd time, and he or she does not come for a long time, and kuch aur assignment leke aati hai, then it's likely that she will fear ki isko, like I had said that you come, so they'll go to someone else. Well, I had this interesting, so this student goes to someone, like I'll not name who she went to, and she was like, I'm scared about this guy. because he asked me to come and I never turned up.
Yes.
So and then I think that's like then you have to sort of, and honestly like I totally forget also. I mean, does it happen to all of you that I can't remember faces or names?
Yeah, unless the people regularly turn up, it's really difficult to remember names and.
No, I'm not
faces.
even talking about. I mean, even faces, like there's like complete unfamiliarity sometimes. Like I just cannot remember. Like I look into the. Like
I guess the reverse has happened with me is that I remember faces. So what has happened is like I had done one-on-one sessions and we had really interactive sessions, but it was maybe once or twice. And then I see the person in the canteen or somewhere outside, and I smile, and I don't get the smile back, and I was like, okay, so I didn't recognize. I shouldn't have smiled. So that's the other way around actually, which has happened, because I see from an eye of a familiarity, and it's not responded back, or maybe it's not worth remembering that much. So we don't know.
Maybe one of the cases that Sauradeep was talking of, that they go to different people and then, like you said, maybe they forget to.
Yeah, so that's also CWC is not just one tutor, but it's so many people for them, and at different points they go to different people. So it's also for them impossible to remember who was who, right? So that's also true. But then, from a teacher point of view, that kind of gets into us, right? So you see.
No, I don't care. I mean, I don't. But Apurva, you're saying something.
No, coming back to what are the things that we've heard about CWC. So in one of the sessions, a student came in. This remained with me because I thought, this was something that even I, when I was a student, wanted. I basically wanted something like this in my campus where there was this certain lack, and there's no doubt about that. So there are students who come and talk about how CWC is a space that works for them because they're coming with drafts that they are maybe not so comfortable sharing with either their teachers or their classmates. So for anyone who's skeptical about, okay, this is the first draft, maybe what should I do? I do need feedback, but I'm not so comfortable sharing it with anyone in class because maybe I'm judged or not, or whatever the reason is. There's just this space where you can go and this is almost like a rare center that not every university has, and I think Ashokans as a part of this university should realize and just make 100% use of this space. That
It's kind of a non-judgmental sounding board for at least your first or second draft. So I guess a lot of new ideas also come up while you discuss with your tutors.
I don't know, but I'm actually quite judgmental. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tricky thing because you're not supposed. I mean, we can't indulge actual information of what happens because but at the same time, I mean, it's hard to sort of prove the point also because you can't tell what happens in the room. It's not ethical to reveal what actually happened and yet at the same time you're saying it's very important. So I feel it's hard for people to even understand, and I think everyone has a separate different method of
Absolutely.
That's true. Yeah, but Uday, you're supposed to be the co-host, man. You're barely talking.
One-on-one sessions. Okay. No, but I don't know. I think I would have the most common experience with Shinruti because, like she said, I think also that people sometimes do think that there's a therapeutic edge to CWC, and that there is not only in terms of writing quick fix, but also functional things like fact checking or sentence editing,
Citations. Last minute citations.
So there are some things that they I just think that it's great that the center not only does all that but also writing on a different level. I mean, at the level of style itself, we are concerned about just to how to elevate style and how they are writing, the manner in which they are writing, try to improve that. I think that I've never seen in any other educational space. Either it used to be a very teacher to student direct classroom space and you meant to figure it out on your own. And even if there was some other support, there used to be usually senior students with whom the dynamic can't be like what it is here. So in that sense, but at the same time I've had experiences where just students have I think most of the people who worked at CWC have had experiences where I don't know, there's a certain therapeutic expectation out of CWC, like not only to better your assignment, to better your life. In one session.
Is it?
So, we appreciate that kind of confidence on us, but
it's actually too much
but yeah,
to expect
it's
from
a bit too much
one
of
session.
an expectation.
Yeah, but then there's one thing I would like to add to there, is that this idea that perpetuates that some of the students who come very underconfident and saying things like, I'm from a CBSE background and therefore my writing definitely is not good, so can you please go through this and tell me what is wrong. And when we read these drafts, we find that they are absolutely fine. So it's just maybe slight tweaks, but that doesn't make their writing any less academic or something that I should kind of judge against ICSE students. So that's one general belief that gets perpetuated within Ashoka, that ICSE students versus CBSE students.
We'll actually be talking about this in a separate point.
Yeah.
This was like an acute epidemic here, but we think of this.
I'm trying to add this point to the therapeutic effect. So it is this space that we try to ensure that this kind of underconfidence or lack of vision in your writing that you have, which is fine. So that kind of gets addressed here. So we try to address that, and many of the students do feel very confident after they walk out of the rooms. So that's something.
Sometimes when I hear them say these kinds of things, I mean, it's so much of massive peer pressure at that age, man. I mean, it's not very far away from like we were there a couple of years ago. But I was thinking like this peer pressure was next level, yeah.
How was it with you guys at that age? I know we've talked about this, that you've said multiple times that it used to be very different with a completely different ecosystem in, like, let's say public universities back in Kolkata or in Delhi. How is it with you?
We used to say that we are doing honors. We are doing canteen honors, not English honors.
What was that?
Where was that?
Like
in presidency, it was like in generally.
Oh, so you used to sit in the canteen so much.
So people used to spend so much time in the canteen that
playing 29.
That undergrad was like doing canteen honors and not honors in any particular subject. That was a standard joke, not just.
But also, like, we were not that worried about grades also.
Yeah.
I mean, I did pretty badly.
Absolutely.
यहाँ पे कुछ ज़्यादा ही लोग like they take a lot of their whole they feel good about the fact that they've got good grades. I mean, they feel good about themselves. मतलब there were other things to full. I mean, back like 10 years ago, I think that's how it was. We felt good about other things. Grade was fine.
The entire first year was like, I spent my first year in Shantiniketan, graduation first year, and the entire first year was spent in exploring this space. So much so on my cycle with my friends is like I somehow scraped to just pass in my graduation first year exam, and that was like, okay, a lot of exploration done. Now I need to concentrate a little bit on the study. So that was the kind of life I guess we had. We really never had that much of peer pressure. It's only towards the fag end of our academic life we started realizing maybe we should get a little serious.
I think also the university started at a point of time where just the timeline ensures that nearly all of the students are going to be post social media. It's new.
You mean
Ashoka? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe that adds an angle to it. I don't think it was there that much in
That's
public
true.
universities before.
All we had was Orkut maybe.
And it was
At the end of it.
it's very paradoxical that the grades were sort of brought in to alleviate this thing. Like, it used to be marks, just sheer marks before.
Yes.
but then it turns out that it's possible to get conscious about grades also.
Yeah.
And also the fact that we had annual exams. I guess, are all of us from annual
No, I'm
exams?
not talking about the mode, or I'm just saying generally. I mean, it wasn't such a big deal.
No,
I mean,
what I'm trying to
of
say
course,
is that-
the idea was that I can't get, say, maybe for like to sit for MA exams, we had to get I think 50% in most. Like just to like that was a qualifying mark. So that is where my head. I mean, of course, I wanted to do well and all, but वो था कि ये ना हो जाए कि 50 से कम मिल जाए.
So, MA exams or NET exams?
No, I mean MA entrance exams.
Oh, yeah.
After once you finish grad.
Yes.
For net, you need
Yes.
55.
55.
Masters.
No, I'm talking about that. You know that's the basic requirement.
Yeah.
So of all things, getting better grades is the new marker of generation gap.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
When back at the time, we did not bother much about identity and all of it. But then now looking back, I think that we never like, drew all our identity from our grades. I mean, now that's quite a thing. That your grades decide who you are. So that was not the case back at the time.
That's true.
Unbelievable silence.
Lot of chilling happened in my undergrad days.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't think people chill here.
Absolutely. New
We
experiences.
chilled way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. Actually, way too much.
But then this campus is also
But
sort
that
of,
Yeah, it stops you from doing. Like,
But
there's
that's
no
the
way
only
to
time when you
explore.
actually chill in life, because once
No, but
life
you
starts
can't see. The
happening-
thing is, you had the cycle, but you also
And I
had a
had an
space.
entire
You had an entire
town to
town.
explore.
Like,
From the railway
unless you have
station
a
to the villages and
unless you have a
everywhere.
city outside.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you have
Absolutely.
like how many acres is this?
25.
25 acres is all they have. So I mean, I can understand. It's
Yes,
like,
yes.
I mean, it generates.
Yeah,
its
but you
own-
have weekends and you have Delhi, right? So
Yeah, but I'm just saying that.
No, but
I mean, it's just harder for them to ऐसे ही निकल पड़ो या मतलब you guys were in DU, right?
Yeah, the university system
Huh.
is not there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. I mean, you just can't hop into another college or like the circuit of fests or things like that.
Yeah, वो सब नहीं है.
but then I guess as a place, Delhi is a far happening place than Shantiniketan, and there are so many places you can go to. But that was it was just a town. So compared to that, there's so much more to do in Delhi. So I don't think
Yeah, but
that's
it's
an
only the
excuse.
weekend they'll get.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean that is also decided by
Yeah,
the
that-
shuttle.
that I know.
I mean, there's
It's
just
like-
so many.
Do these guys have the culture of bunking classes in Ashoka?
I don't think attendance is a huge thing in Ashoka.
Oh my
right?
god, the bunking
You take
class.
attendance?
that's-
Yeah, okay.
No. I'm from the FYUP batch.
तो तुम लोग का attendance था?
No.
नहीं था?
We are the only batch in DU who had like zero obligation for attendance.
What does that FYU mean?
4-year
That thing that
program.
Modi changed in his manifesto, saying that we will change.
4-year
it,
undergrad
we will-
program.
Yeah.
Basically, from
Oh,
3
okay.
years, DU shifted
Okay.
to a 4 grade.
Oh,
4
lovely.
Then
year.
lots of scandal happened na, for that.
Acha.
So your
People were out on
graduation
the street.
was for 4 years? Or?
No, it got.
It got it did not pass.
Yeah.
Right. But there was a.
No, it passed. For the
Oh.
first year, we studied as if we were going to graduate in 4 years.
Right.
Oh.
But
Okay,
then after the first year, they said, sorry, we're not going to do that. So you're going to have to finish 3 years of coursework in 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
So you didn't have attendance marks for the
First
next
year.
2 years also? The
Yeah,
last 2
yeah.
years? Oh god.
No,
And-
because I think FYUP as a model was created in which attendance didn't have much value in the beginning. So we were never going to be penalized for attendance ever, and nor were the subsequent batches. But since they cut it out, the people who came in after us, they had to be in the 3-year batch. So we were just like this, in like
But
that,
yeah.
that conveyor belt in manufacturing companies where they like give a series of we were that odd car that didn't get manufactured the same way. So we were completely like you could bunk without any penalization.
The test
amazing.
car which
I
finally
never
does not
got
go
those.
through the what to say, the final review is like stopped and said no, this car can't go, so you
we had zero obligation.
lovely.
But Apurva, you had,
Lovely.
right?
Yeah, and I never got those 10% marks for
Oh, I paid
attendance
it. I
throughout the 3
paid
years.
like those fines that you had to pay for less attendance every year. That was like around 250 rupees. So that was like very, very.
So you had to pay a fine?
Yes,
What
I had
did
to
you
pay
have
a
to
fine.
do?
We had to lose out on marks.
No.
You lost out on
Yeah.
marks?
No. We had just to pay
And
a fine.
specifically if the teacher doesn't like what you're doing, like for instance, I was in the theatre society, and this one particular teacher, she would never let me, like others were, if I requested to them, okay, maybe they would, help me out or do something, but this one never did. And I really suffered in that particular course with marks. I needed those 10% marks of attendance there. So good for Uday's batch that this didn't happen. Yeah.
I had to go through like couple of hours of humiliation by our HOD. She just humiliated us, like
For bunking.
for bunking, for poor attendance, and threatened not to let us take the university exam. And it was like, you don't even have the power. I mean, yeah.
I guess this is where these are times when the office staff becomes super powerful and they can wield their power like anything.
No, but they
stand
think
in
you're
line,
saying,
give
right?
you a fine, and if you're too late or too early, will not give it, or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that does happen.
So, but we don't know what it's like in Ashoka, right? Do they
I think
they
there's
get marks?
some compulsion for attendance, but
Yeah. Sorry. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know what the exact percentage required is. But yeah, that does seem to be.
But what is it here? You have to take attendance. You have to get
Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
they get penalized if they don't?
They get scores for attendance.
They get?
They get. There is a percentage of marks that they get for attendance. 10%.
That's the same with you, right?
10%. Yeah.
So, but that's it, right? They'll just lose out on 10%.
Yeah, that's it. They lose out. But then a space where grades are so important, 10% is a lot.
Yeah, I get that, but it's
Because-
it's tricky because I mean, there's this article that I was reading just yesterday which said that I mean, in both in DU and in JNU, there is like JNU has never had an attendance system. Matlab, it's never.
There's
I don't
no
think it's
register or
really
anything.
never been there. The new VC, the current VC,
Trying to bring that.
tried to do it, even he failed, but he said that, so what is it that makes a student come to class even if you don't have attendance? Matlab, kaun sa actually better option hai? So she said that, I mean, if you actually don't have attendance, then you actually have people who are interested in the thing. Like you have an interested set of people who are actually invested in coming, and like both from the point of view of the teacher as well as the student. But I think that, I mean, I don't know how much this will work for like an undergrad, because I mean,
where the classes themselves sort of end up provoking interest much later, maybe.
I mean, now they have to take courses from across spectrum. I mean, it's not necessarily they study what they want to study,
or they know what they, but then,
or they even know what.
but
they want to
do
study.
we even know what we want to? I mean, it took me 7 years
Ah,
of
of course.
studying in English to know that I don't like studying English studies.
I'll say this about people who come to CWC that I've noticed, which is definitely markedly different from in my undergrad years, or any kind of culture that I saw in my college or university, is that they have a certain, I think there's a certain wariness about not following a certain kind of module of writing. So lots of times in appointments, they're very anxious about breaking that module, and I think lots of, at least my sessions are spent to convince them that there is no module and that we didn't follow any module in our undergrad years. And in public universities, there's no such. I mean, it's half the time figuring out on your own, and so I don't know. Most of the time, I didn't know already that there are these set patterns of writing and you have to do this by this, and they get really freaked out by that not happening in their paper or something like that. So I think when they approach us as like that, we would just, if maybe through this podcast, we would like to convey that there is no such
pattern,
no such module for writing that they are wary of under the university system. It's like it's really okay to go and write what you feel belongs in the third paragraph, even if people say it should be
Yeah, I mean, I don't-
topic
At
sentence
this
or
point,
whatever.
you might just crack our counter argument wala joke. I mean,
Yeah.
now this is the time for that joke. Counter argument wala wo
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
one ye
No, I
Kanadas
remember-
ke liye aaja.
I remember it, but I'm just not sure if I should.
No, you should say it.
That's actually kind of catches the
I don't know. Can you?
So basically, we have people who come with, like there are these set patterns of
Counter
writing.
argument,
Like, there's this
anxiety.
argument, then counter argument.
Topic sentence or topic question,
sentence.
argument.
I forgot what topic sentence even was. But so counter argument, and then you have to have
Counter to the counter.
Counter.
Counter to the counter.
counter
Yes,
argument,
yes.
and then that's it. So I think sometimes I've noticed papers where the argument is going on, and everything is going fine, and suddenly the argument is almost personalized in the essay, and the argument is sort of stands up from the essay, out of it, and then just I don't have a counter argument. I need to find a counter argument, otherwise I can't end myself. And then this essay is just standing on paper like, where do I find counter argument? It's just like roaming the premises of Ashoka, searching for a counter argument. And then, okay, I mean, he's just asking, can you be my counter argument? And the issue is like saying, I don't want to be a counter argument, man. Like, just please come for one paragraph, then you go away. Then one,
Then फिर से argument चल रहा है. Then suddenly counter to counter आ गया.
I will extinguish it.
It's like
counter to counter is like, so when the counter argument को जैसे भी करके और जैसे तैसे करके this like ले आता है argument, really counter एक आ गया counter. तो counter भी बिल्कुल reluctantly बोल रहा है कि मुझे नहीं बनना है counter argument. like बन जाना please. And then counter argument को defeat करने के लिए जो counter जो ready होके आता है paper में. और एक बार वो हो गया, once that thing is dispelled through the counter argument, वो ऐसे इतना सरफेस में क्लेंस होके निकलता है ना कि अब तो मैं प्यूरिफाई हो गया. No one can accuse me of being biased now. Because counter argument पीछे से मैं जाऊँ ना. So that's the counter arguments.
And sometimes students do come to one-on-one sessions seeking कि I've written all of this. I have 2-3 arguments. I can't find a counter argument. Please help me with one. That is something that I have also found in my sessions, like where I'm like, okay, now I read your paper and I build up a counter argument for you so that you can put that there. So that definitely happens.
Sometimes the counter argument
And thank
is
you for the
much more.
personification.
Yeah, that is also.
Lovely.
The counter argument is much stronger than the argument
Oh yeah.
Please अपना argument बना लो. ये ज़्यादा strong है. Counter argument is supposed to make your argument strong, but it's actually weakening it. इसी को argument बना दो.
But actually, I mean, in principle, it's not a very bad. I mean, in principle, it might work, कि for a paper in terms of, I mean, a lot of people might say in terms of style कि जैसे लिखने के time पे कि use a variation of short sentences and long sentences. But I think sometimes it's misconstrued in the sense कि 3 short sentence के बाद एक long आना पड़ेगा. It's like three like it becomes mechanical. If I mean, in principle, they don't mean it in the sense कि इस पैराग्राफ को ऐसे ही करना, but then sometimes I can't blame the students because some instructors want that.
Actually,
I mean, I can't blame them, but
actually there are very very specific prompts which say that you have to use linking words, which is good actually. In one way, they're teaching how to write a kind of a coherent paragraph, but then in trying to do that so mathematically, so strategically, somewhere I feel that the essence of writing just for the sake of writing, that I want to write about something, that gets lost. So
but then that
balance is something.
But then I
very
feel that
important.
is something that academia in itself really disregards, hates.
That's true. That's
writing
true.
for the sake of
writing for the sake of writing,
or for the love of writing,
or for the love of writing, or just that I want to express myself.
It depends on the killing of instinct. I don't think it takes into account any kind of instinct that might strike and invade the paper. It's very, so that I feel very hard to get across to I would say many students here, that there is really it's fine if you don't have a counter argument. Like the essay can survive. So
And then there are very specific markers, like you have to use 3 citations. But then what they are writing is a kind of a dialogue conversation in an imaginary space where imaginary species are becoming personified, and then they have to use citations. So there are spaces where so like some rat is citing something. So when I say this is very awkward, so you can just make something else maybe. So these are there. So they're trying to fit in citations and arguments and counter arguments into a kind of a fictional writing.
what's a real assignment?
I'm saying that, I mean, in principle, I don't even mind that. I'm just saying that sometimes it comes across, I mean, I don't think it gets conveyed in the right way.
No, I'm not saying it's not possible.
There is a rush here to sort of understand the structure very quickly and do it
Absolutely.
like within a semester. People take years to
And start
understand
getting
how to
published
develop
as
an
soon as
argument.
possible. Yeah.
But here, I think that is the starting point, and it's put across very rigidly that no, you need to do this introduction, middle part. You need to have a conclusion like this, like.
Yeah, and it assumes that everyone who's writing an argument is also self-conscious about how they're doing it. Like as if you read a great columnist in New Yorker, it's as if this person was knowing absolutely every sentence that he or she was doing. It's like no, there's so much unsaid that goes into it.
The thing is that they think that the writing is a product, which is basically writing is a process.
It's a process, and also process of
skipping so many steps. I mean, people take several. I mean, years. I mean, even the best scholars would still be not too satisfied with the book they have published. So every book in that sense is unfinished. Is unfinished. Every paper is not. No paper is perfect. There is no perfect paper. So when you put together some guidelines they become like just mere check boxes. So I have done this, and I'm coming back to that counter argument part, because that's what I think we all dealt very intimately, especially during the 2 weeks leading up to their final assignment submissions. So they don't even have a proper. I felt they feel misguided about what this counter argument is. I mean, so if you're writing something, maybe a paper on some strands of feminism, then suddenly you say counter argument is not that feminism is bad, and then you go back to the point of feminism is good because of that. So it's not a counter argument is not this black and white compartments.
And also the thing that it's only in the process of writing something that you get to realize towards the end of it that whether my argument or my point of view was at all the kind of topic of my paper or not. So I'm trying. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's as for something like there's always a hypothesis with which you start a thesis, but there is no strict rule that whatever you are assuming you will achieve in the next 3 years will actually be that. So it's very possible by the end of 3 years, your research and your fieldwork will reveal that you just got just the opposite of what you expected to.
Sometimes
the
writing
outcome.
takes. I also say that to the students who came to me, that sometimes you of course you have a working idea that this is how you want to write a paper. You have an outline, but then when you actually sit down to write it, it may take an internal direction. And not necessarily that direction is a bad direction. It may be better. It may, make your paper even better. So do indulge in that. I mean, that doesn't mean that you are digressing from the topic. That doesn't mean that you're not addressing the topic at all. It may also mean that you're addressing it even better. So allow that writing to take its own direction.
No, I agree. And also, I feel that there is this certain, almost an environment where you're not encouraged to make mistakes. It seems like you have this structure, you do this, you get everything right, and you get your best grades. And writing doesn't work unless you make those mistakes. And that is an important part of the process. So I don't know why that is missing here.
Also, it also, I think, hinders any possibility of some idea of originality. I hate the idea of originality per se, as an act of individual genius or anything. But, what you were saying about mistakes is so important, that you have to go through several processes to actually find out what your voice is, what your interest is, to even discover yourself, and that you can't do in a semester, or it's not like this puzzle that you can just solve. It's not, the quest itself is different. It's not about a solution. It's not about arriving at a place where मुझे कुछ मिला है.
And I think that generation gap thing, I don't know if it fits here or not, but somehow, like in my cohort, people were okay not getting great grades because in the end somewhere they learned, and they sort of valued the mistakes they were making. I don't know if that is happening anymore or not, because somehow अगर अच्छा ठीक है नहीं grade आया इसमें अच्छा इस paper में, that's okay, but now it's not okay suddenly.
Yeah, and also teachers have to face a lot of flack. I do know that, even when I was doing MA, we had this component where basically MA का class 400 लोगों का था DU में. So every student would be assigned say 5-6 teachers, and that would be called the IAs, the internal assessments, and each IA would have every teacher would have their own course उसके लिए. So I remember, you were graded उसको बहुत सब out of 400 I think 100 marks उसका होता था. So और मतलब it had a substantial amount of percentage of marks that you could get out of that, and everyone knew who is checking my paper, क्योंकि DU CU क्या होता है कि हमें पता नहीं चलता कि चेक कौन कर रहा है. So even if you get a bad grade, there's no way you can figure out. But यहाँ पे you could, and so the teachers who would generally grade badly or won't give marks, there was a lot of backlash towards those teachers from some of my classmates कि ये पूरा concept ही खराब है. As in marks ही मिलना चाहिए. ये research का क्या component है? Why do we have to write a term paper? Why do we have to write research essays? और मुझे grade, why is it that there is a different grading? Why is not every teacher, इनको तो highest 70 मिल गया, हमारा group का highest 60 है. So no, it was a huge thing, but I think now it's become worse. मतलब अभी के लिए तो इसे निकालो contract. This teacher is not giving us grades, we won't take his or her course. I think it's very grave. In that way that we were joking about it earlier, but yeah. Do you want to end it in this very grave note?
And also, just trying to conclude is that we need to remember that all kinds of writings are also a reflection of your personality. No matter if you give the same kind of prompt and you give the same kind of support writing for an assignment, still 7 people will write it in 7 different manners. And there is no hard and fast rule to tell that which of it is the perfect one. Because whenever we write, it's also a process of revealing ourselves, right? So that personality will definitely come out in your sentences. No matter how much you try to feign or how much you try to hide, that is supposed to come out. That will come out. So in that way, I feel each and every essay that I read is actually a reflection of their personalities as well. Where I find it's really tricky to tell them that this is not academic or this is academic. That's also one of the struggles that I face in the one-on-one sessions, to actually tell them that what you're doing is not academic, because maybe that's the kind of self that is getting revealed in the writing. So that's also something very deep that I find myself kind of questioning in the one-on-one sessions.
I have a good note to end with.
Yes.
So I think I had one student, even I think Akshi also had a student like that, who came with an old draft, something that they have already submitted and have been graded, and it didn't get good grades. So that student was actually keen to learn that what went wrong. Taking the writing thing very seriously, that as a process, how to better it, etc., etc. So there was no pressure of submission because it's already done. There is no pressure of getting grades because it's already been graded. So just coming with an old, not well written paper and trying to make it better over a few sessions. So of course that's the kind of student we would really like to work with, because that's that you can see what you are teaching. And the student can also see what they are learning, and that's actually a very good teacher learning experience for students. So yeah, also do come with your old papers.
Yeah. We should also see each other's papers.
And new ones that are not rushing for deadlines.
What?
No, we should also see each other's papers.
Right.
Oh, that's true.
Of course. Yes.
That'll
We
be
can
more
we can do writing sessions.
peer review. अपने लोगों का.
We can do
अपना peer review.
you would also be starting on your dissertation. I would also be writing, so we can have writing therapy sessions.
We can book each other's sessions and then.
You can make your chocolate milk that you
Hot chocolate.
hot chocolate milk that you have, like pass that on to me.
I think we
also.
can just switch it off.
Okay,
now.
fine.
Yeah,
Sorry.
done. That's
Now,
all.
now we are getting into really personal things. Okay, so tune in. I think we will have another. I think we will have
We'll
another.
do this more regularly.
We will try and do this more. Yeah. This was
This is fun.
This
This
was
is fun.
Yeah, I think we should close it anyway.